Welcome to ProfileTree TV, and today I'm very excited to be talking to Jason from ParkOffice. So Jason, thank you very much for taking time out and talking to us.
Oh, no problem at all. My pleasure.
Excellent. You wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about yourself and the company and what you do?
Okay, so I left school in long ago, 1988, and went a short, brief stint in the retail trade. Then I went traveling around the world when I was 20, and I came back, and I started my sort of what I call my sort of real career. I started working in Heineken. I was a merchandiser for them for a few years, and I ended up I was working with them for 10 years and worked my way up to sort of a key account manager in sales in the on trade, which is pubs. I left there, and I was approached to start to get involved in a startup company called Bar Trader, which was way before its time. It was using the internet as a medium to purchase for all the pubs. So there was 10,000 pubs, pub license, and they're all buying their own, had their own deals. So we were going to use the internet as a medium for that. And he approached me because obviously I had a lot of contacts in the beer business. It was before its time, and the whole concept of sort of group buying and using web portals didn't work, and Guinness didn't really like it, and they had about 60% of the market then, so they saw it as a threat. So I went from there. I went to Coke, worked for Coke for another 6 years. I was a key account manager there, and I kind of looked after the license trade, which is where everywhere they sell glass. So that's the easiest way to do it. So all the bottles, and they had Schweppes as well, and Fanta and Sprite and all that sort of thing. About 18 different brands, but obviously the vast majority of it was coming from Coke. I was approached, and I ran a wholesale company for equestrian products that had about 20,000 SKUs. Lived locally, and so I was MD of that for a few years. Then I went out and started up an online business selling all equestrian products, which I sourced myself from, and got a brand name made called equestriandiscount.com, and I sold that. And then I went to work for Lily O'Brien's Chocolates. So at this stage, my wife is starting to see a pattern where when am I going to start selling something that's good for us? So I worked for them for 6 years and brought them from, I think, about 11 million. And when I left, it was about 26 million turnover. And then they sold. Then I had a couple of other stints. Sort of, I was getting into sort of consultancy, so I was helping out small companies around the food industry or anything. There was a glass company. I worked for a garden center, a few others. So, and then I was driving along one day, and I heard this guy on the radio, and he was saying he's just started a company called Park P&P, and the best way to explain that, it's like an Airbnb for parking. Okay. So lots of spaces out there that are in good locations, but parking isn't their business. So it could be a church, it could be a school, it could be your house. If your house is near Crow Park, you can do the driveway, and then sort of commercial buildings as well. And I thought, what a great idea. And the bit I loved about it, to be honest with you, the bit I loved was that there was no stock. Because all the previous years I'm looking at stock, and accountants are getting on to me and saying, listen, you've too much stock, and I'm saying we don't have enough for certain things, and it's all about stock levels. But this was great because the stock was virtual, and you could turn it on, turn it off, and you just needed the medium to do it, and that's what the site did. So yeah, that was very good. And from that, we would go out to various companies that are in good locations. So there might be, say, off Stephen's Green or something like that. And we'd say, look, we have this site here. I know parking isn't your business. If you have any spare space, you put it up on the site, and off you go. And 9 times out of 10, they turn around and say, we don't have enough space for our current staff. But yet, when you look out the window, you'll see about 20% of the car park is empty. And we'd say, well, why is it empty? And they'd say, well, that's because he's got a space. He's off on holidays, or he's at a meeting, and da da da. But you're asking me for more space. You don't have enough space. So then we thought, well, let's come up with an app that would fully allocate and automate all those spaces to optimize the car park. And that's where we came up with the idea of ParkOffice. And we pivoted as a company. We still have Park P&P, the Airbnb one. We pivoted about 18 months ago. So we're not forcing, and we're not focusing on Park P&P as much now. It's all about ParkOffice. And so ParkOffice, yeah, it's an app which fully allocates and automates all the parking. So, and yeah, it's been going extremely well. We currently, okay, let's talk pre-COVID. We had or have about 28 customers all around the world. We have customers in New Zealand, Australia, Vietnam, Germany, Italy, and the States. And luckily, just before the whole COVID thing, we just locked down a deal and a contract with Netflix. So Netflix is our biggest customer. They have 4,500 people trying to get into the one car park every day. And the problem that they had was they had enough car parking space, but everybody wanted to go to car park A because it was the nearest studios. So you just pick up your app now, and you can see what your space is, and then you go to whatever. So that's a kind of a whirlwind tour.
Incredible. And has your pivot become the core focus then for the business, or you're running?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's about 90% of it is now. We've only one guy on the other business, and then everybody else. We've about 12 people, so 11 of them are, and 5 of them are developers. So the focus is really on developing. So we don't outsource anything, and it's about, so that's, COVID has worked for us in that sense because, the 5 developers can work from anywhere, but 2 of them one's in Brazil, one's in Portugal, one was in Vietnam, and now he's moved back here, and the other one is in Lucan. So they're all around us, and we just Zoom and Slack and WhatsApp and everything. So it's all. We have a daily meeting. We just had one there half an hour ago. Everyone was on. So
yeah, business as usual. Amazing.
Well, office business as usual, but obviously there's nobody parking. However, we did get some business because what was happening was because people who traditionally had a car parking space, they're not working now. They're working from home, but the office is still operational. So they want to open up those car parking spaces to the other employees who don't normally get parking. So we got a bit of business from that.
Incredible. And the key benefits then for using parking software for businesses, what would they be?
Well, there's lots of them. There's this sustainability angle. So if you know your parking spot before you go in every day, you're not driving around trying to find it. Okay. Also, you can reward people with a car parking space if they carpool. So if they carpool, they don't have to. That's obviously will be a help for the environment. There's less admin because it does it all for you. Most companies have somebody who's in charge of parking, and pretty much all of those companies, when that person had their interview, them being in charge of the parking was not part of it. So it takes away all that. It also takes away all the subjectiveness. So you don't have to give it to your buddy John or Billy or whatever. The system will work. There's an algorithm in the back which actually allocates it all fairly based on previous usage, previous times that you requested and got parking, previous times you requested and didn't get parking, and so on. And you can have you can weight people as well. So 1 to say 3, one has a higher chance of getting it for 3. So one could be someone who's disabled or pregnant, or could be a higher person up in the company. And then you can also have people who have a guaranteed spot. They'll always have their spot, but when they're not using it, they just tap once and it releases that spot and gives it to the next person on the list who was looking for it but didn't get a spot. So the benefit for a company is it's there's 4,500 people in Netflix using it, and there's one person in admin, and their only job is to put people on it or put it off it. But now we've just introduced a single sign-on, so now he doesn't even have to do that. So so that's benefits. What other benefits? Obviously, if we did a case study, and we had 280 people who would like parking in an office block in Belgium, and they had 80 parking spaces. And we got a guy to stand with a clipboard and measure the occupancy twice a day for a period of 2 weeks. And we found that 24% of it was not being used. Now there's 280 people trying to get into 80 spaces. So that 24% now is up to 95, 100%. So obviously that 24%, there's extra people who weren't paying for space offsite. And some companies might have to, after a while, they work out that they don't need their offsite parking because they're able to optimize their current parking, which they're already paying for. We had another customer that had outsourced 3 car parks for 65 people, and they actually reduced it to 2 car parks and still park the 65 people. Because on the app, you can open up the app and you can press today's availability. So if somebody's left, you can see if there's a space there and instantly get it and just plug in. But you can also see that there isn't a space there. So you just park somewhere else or get alternative arrangements.
And I'm thinking of the list of companies that I've been at in the last, just pre-COVID, that I need to send your URL to that should be using your software. No, it's incredible because no matter if you're big or small, if you're city-based at all or town-based at city centre, you know, you're negotiating as a business owner, you're negotiating your rates of rent, and you're fighting over how many spaces should I pay for as well. And it's a costly but very valuable perk for anyone in the team. So actually maximizing the use, I can definitely see the value in it now, I have to say.
It's listen, parking is the kind of forgotten cousin, you know. I mean, there's never enough parking in offices. It's the last thing you think of: desks, lovely, you know, canteens, breakout rooms and all that, and then it's just parking, you know. And it was the Wild West, you know. So it's kind of first come, first served, which isn't fair. It's not fair when someone has to drop kids to school. It's not fair when someone who has to commute an hour and a half away. And then we've actually introduced another bit called Payzone, which is basically for the landlords that have spare space. So they can actually rent out that space in the office block to other people that are in the office block, and only people that are in the office block on a daily basis. So there's no long-term leases. There's no investment because the product is already there. And it's an enclosed market. So you're not renting it out to anybody, only people that are in the building. And, you know, at the moment you're making nothing from that space. Might cost you 30 euros to park on street. So why don't you just charge a minimum charge of 15 euros? 15 euros is 100% more than what you were getting if you didn't have the product. And it all multiplies up, you know. With one customer that's waiting for 2 other tenants to come in, and there's huge demand for the space. So they have 120 spaces which are on the system. The occupancy is about 80% at 15 euros a day, 5 days a week, 4 weeks a month. It all adds up, you know. Yeah. So that's Look, I mean, and then look, you know, I mean, obviously since COVID's come, we've taken a bit of a wallop, but there you go.
Yeah, no, for sure. And thankfully, we're all starting to open up now, and there's a glimmer.
The cogs are turning now. We can see that.
It's starting. It really is. We can see it. Thankfully, it's all raring to get out of the traps and go again. But what to do? So really, your product is an opportunity then, I guess, for businesses, even non-tech businesses, to introduce some smart tech or become closer to being a smart business and introducing technology into their.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of companies now, so it's this kind of prop tech is a new word, you know. So it's smart offices. You've got smart cities. So this is a smart office. So basically, it's like it's having real-time information. You know, if your office, if you don't know if the parking is full or if there is availability or if I can get parking, wouldn't it be nice to be able to just open up your app and see it?
No, I think
we've also developed this other thing called an occupancy tracker. So basically, it will tell you what the current occupancy is in any car park. So, for instance, you can open up your app at, say, 10 o'clock in the morning, and it'll say, okay, based on your current location and the time, because it'll use a thing called predictive analytics. It'll say, based on your based on the current time, your current location, and the time of year and time of day, you have a 94% chance of getting into that car park, and only a 6% chance of getting into that car park. So go to that one, you know. So it's actually tracking all the people going in and out. So yeah, so that's pretty. We can see that for sort of large organizations that have enough car parking spaces, but people don't know where the spare spaces are, you know. And then you can actually get into things like sensors. So you can get sensors in car park, and it'll actually tell you which space is free, you know. We're working with a company in Germany where people think, oh, sensors, geez, we have to put something down on the ground in every spot now. But we're working with a company in Germany that has sensors coming from, it's like a street light. So it's like a street light in your car park, and on top of it, it looks down at car park and pick up sensors up to about 85 to 90 spaces. So you don't have to put the sensors on each of those spaces, and then it'll come back into a map, and it'll say, oh yeah, that one's free, and it's actually live. So green is free and red is booked. So yeah, that's sort of smart technology.
Incredible. And we're talking about, you know, introducing smart technology into businesses for sure. Do you think more businesses will be interested in this as we move forward? I think costs and everything are critical, space is critical, but even businesses, how they approach things. We've heard of the phrase smart businesses. Have you any thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. We do think so. I mean, traditionally, you know, a lot of people are hot desking now, and you know, a couple of the banks now they're on a mission to reduce to encourage people to work from home 20% of the time, and this is before COVID now. And the reason for that is, there's a whole sort of change around working from home, and I think COVID, one of the very few good things to come out of it is that the working from home culture is more accepted now. You know, a lot of people before would have thought, oh, you're working from home, but you're really walking the dog, and you know, I don't trust you when you're getting it done. But you know, that's going to change. So that particular company, that particular bank, they to get people to be 20% working from home, but also to reduce their real estate by about 20%. Okay, so then what's going to happen is people are going to start hot desking more. So we're working with a company in the States at the moment that want us to allocate the parking, but also allocate a desk to them as well. So not only will you know your parking, you know your desk.
So, and that's you're pivoting again, or adding in new features, I guess, into the product as customers.
Yeah, we're doing that all the time, and we've done a few COVID ones now. We do. Developing one for a company in the States that want a questionnaire. It's a health check. So every time you open up the app, you get a prompt. Anyone in your house got COVID? Anyone in your house? How are you feeling today? And you say 3 questions. Check, goes into the database, and then they can run analytics on it every day. You know, it's really to give the employers confidence, and also, you know, it's just sort of slightly, you know, in the States there's kind of heavy litigation and stuff, so it's a kind of a catch for that as well. We're also doing, like I said, the occupancy tracker. We're also doing surveys now. So we're doing company surveys for commuter surveys. So you know, long list of questions, and then we dissect all the data and put it into some nice sheets and slides and things. But you know, you'll find a lot from it. You'll find out exactly, you know, what their pain points are. Do they mind taking public transport? And obviously that's going to be a bit different now. You know, how important is it to have shower facilities? Well, you know, 42% of your employees want better showers. That's very important. And big companies love to make decisions from facts, not feel, you know. So yeah, we're getting a few sort of pre-COVID return commuter surveys, so that and then when people get the results of those surveys, they can make decisions, but they can also, you know, they're backup for making their decisions, you know. So yeah, they're the kind of main. And there's a few other sort of analytic things we've been doing in the background. But yeah.
Incredible. So you're seeing obviously new demand coming in from COVID, I guess, as well. Different features in that. You see
Well,
your
yeah,
business.
you see, I think business is, people say, oh God, a lot of people are going to be working from home now. And we say, yeah, well, they will. But traditionally, those people will have a car parking space. That's theirs. So when they're working from home, they should release it and give it to their employees. Okay. Also, people will be reluctant to use transport, public transport. So there will be a higher demand, So really what we're trying to do is the space is there. We just want to optimize it. And like if you pull a drone up from Dublin city centre or Belfast and you look around, you see all these lovely car parking spaces that are empty. But yet there's huge demand for it. So our product just facilitates that.
Very good. No, I love it. And do you think, we're talking about remote working, do you think that it's going to really change how people work, or what's your thoughts on that?
I don't think it's going to be what people are saying. Oh, we're all going to work. We deal with a lot of real estate vendors. No one's actually rung up and said, listen, I want to get out of my lease, I just think the culture and the attitude towards it will change significantly. Like I said earlier on, the biggest threat is the employee thinking that you're off skiving, and trust and where are you doing. I mean, you can, that's gone now because everyone is working. People who are working remotely are working very well, I also notice we use Zoom like you do. And before COVID, whenever I'm wanting to set up a meeting with somebody, I'd say I'd have to explain Zoom. Now I don't.
Isn't it amazing? Isn't it totally, you Zoom, my word, it's like...
Yeah, I've got a meeting out with someone from England at 2:30 today, and I said that to her, and she said, you're absolutely right. I had no idea what Zoom was 2 weeks ago.
It's an incredible change in the world, but it is. But all these small changes, as you say, I think will be great overall. So some things, the working from home mindset has totally transformed how people and company owners look at things. So I think definitely there's a new wave there. So it's only good to see.
Yeah.
It's all good. And for yourself then, and the business moving forward, then what's your thoughts? Does the future look like?
Well, future is good because it was going extremely well just before, and we were just about to get some investment, and that fell through. So what we're trying, well, it's on hold. So what we're doing now is we're going to pare back a lot, and very shortly, the plan was, and it was looking like we were going to get into profit in about sort of 2 or 3 months. So that's the plan: get into profit, and then possibly look for investment, or possibly not, because obviously you keep having giving away parts of the company. So I think it'll be slower, but I think it'll start picking up. It'll go, so I don't see it getting back to where it was until at least the second quarter of next year, I would think.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting times as we pull back in. But no, it's amazing. You're right. The investments paused, but great to be able to jump back in and target hitting profit. That'll be a major milestone, and then big decisions on investment or not. It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah. I mean, there's a good few investors there already, but yeah, you're just giving away more of the company, So maybe take more of the pain and have a bigger runway at the end.
Yeah. It's a big. I've had the pleasure of taking 3 rounds of investment and just working on the 4th one as well in another business. And as you say, it's it's a catch-22. What do you do? Go that way or this way? But it's a tough decision. But
we actually had it all. It was all. Everybody agreed. We actually, because of the new customers that we've got and the new pivot, and we actually we got verbal commitment in about 2 weeks. And then we were just drawing up papers and stuff like that. Then this came, and now everyone's kind of wobbling.
It's back for sure. Well, no, thank you again, Jason, for your time today. Really appreciate it. And if anyone wants to find out a little bit more about the solution you offer and what your business is doing, and see the innovations that you're adding to the app, where's the best place for them to go?
Best place is ParkOffice.io. Okay, so W's ParkOffice.io. Or if you just Google ParkOffice parking solutions, or go on to Capterra or any of those ones, you'll see some nice reviews there.
Incredible, excellent. Well, again, thank you very much for your time today and talking us through your solution. It was really interesting, and we'll hopefully be chatting again soon.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Emil.
Excellent, and thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Please do click on the links below and check out ParkOffice and see what Jason and his team are at. A very interesting solution, and of course, any city, any business, we all know we need solutions like that. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you again.